Hey everybody, welcome back to Ike Live. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. I know we are. You're watching a special episode. This is actually show 100, Pete. Show 100.
Can't believe it.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Beck, does it feel like it's been 100 shows? That's a big number.
That seems like a very big number.
It seems like a big number.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, Brian the Carpenter, in the grand scheme of podcasting.
How comfortable are you on a grand scheme right now?
On the grand scheme of podcasting, that's probably not a lot, right? If you look at somebody like a Rogan or
Yeah, he's on like 1,300.
he's on 1,300, right? It's not a lot, but I feel very proud of 100 shows.
That's good.
I feel very proud, Pete.
I think you should. I mean, we didn't know. I certainly didn't know what the heck you were getting me into 7 years ago. And, it's gotten a lot better, as a group, as a team. We talk a lot better. I remember talking over each other.
We were awful in the beginning.
Early, we would just step right all over the dialogue.
Yeah.
And not let everybody say their piece. And we've gotten better, entertaining some amazing moments over the last 7 years.
A lot of amazing moments. I got to tell you, here's the thing, and I want to make sure that I tell this story, is that a lot in the last 4 or 5 years, I'll be at a tournament, I'll be at a fishing show, be wherever. I'll be somewhere out, and I have a fan come up and they say, "Oh man, Ike, I love the show.
Yeah.
I love the show." And in my mind, right, I'm thinking, oh, they liked Fish My City, or they liked the old City Limits Fishing. They liked one of the TV shows. And then they start talking more, and they're like, oh, man, that Dave is so funny. Oh, Pete, he's so, and I'm like, he's talking about Ike Live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like totally, you've seen that happen a lot. It's crazy how many people relate to the show. Why is that, Beck? Why do people relate to the show so much?
Well, because I think they
It's
get
not very good.
It's not. They get to see us, I think, like in our natural state. You know, like we just talk like we talk to each other. So I imagine they probably feel like they're like just sitting in the room with us. Like we're just all hanging out. This is how we shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Like we tease each other like this in person. I mean, this is just the way we are.
Yeah.
Everyone's fair game.
Yep.
Yeah.
People connect with it, and it's amazing. Like I remember I was talking with one guy, and he would measure the distance to the tournament by how many episodes of Ike Live he could listen to. If he could get 3 episodes in before he got to the boat ramp, it was a long drive.
Yeah.
Wow.
People,
That's a really long drive because our shows
4 hours.
are forever.
Forever. They're forever.
Here's a trivia question for you. Who is the only person who's been on, this is their actual 100th show?
Wow.
Is it Brian?
Round of applause.
The one and only.
Oh!
I'm good at the trivia.
what?
Dude, this is
How is that true?
it is true.
Think about it.
It is true. So this is 100 shows.
Right.
It's actually my 100th show.
It's your 100th show, but I for sure haven't been on every show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I've Skyped
So basically, it's Brian Live. We just schedule him whenever Brian's available.
Carpenter Live.
Yeah, that's right.
Carpenter Live.
Cheers, everybody.
Wow.
I also like that Brian hates the costumes as much as he does.
I'm really bad at costumes.
You hate the costumes?
Nah, I don't hate them.
Oh, they're fun. This is a fun part of the
Yeah,
show.
but I
to
always
me.
look stupid.
Okay, but let's be honest.
but not
Let's
tonight.
be honest
Not
why this
tonight, though.
happens. Like you're the guy who 2 days ago was like, "Oh, I didn't get a costume. What am I gonna do?" And I tried to Amazon you one.
I'm just not good at it.
Yeah.
You know.
I was on your side, Brian, like early on the costumes, like because this was all new to me. I'm like, we're doing what? We're going live, and the pressure, and I didn't know what we were. I'm like, what are we supposed to be talking about? Like, we're just making this stuff up as we go along, and I felt a lot of pressure, and then Becky's giving me a turkey costume to wear and a pilgrim
Pete
and
Turkey.
Yeah, but it just lightens the mood. You know what I mean? Like if you're dressed like a turkey, it doesn't really matter what you say
That's
now.
right.
It's true, and but it was so at first it threw me for a loop, but I've kind of embraced it and it's a lot of fun.
I like it. I'm glad you embraced it. All right, now Daniel and Corey, I want to call you to play on this, and I know you guys have watched shows in the past. Is there one show that sticks out for you guys that you look back and say that was the best show, or that was the worst show, or what show stands out to you in the chronicles of Ike Live? Wow, this is the best tonight. I did great. Hold on, round of applause.
No, but hold on. Corey embraces the dressing up.
You do.
When we
And I
first
like
mentioned that you might have to dress up, all of a sudden there were 6 to 10 Amazon packages out
He likes cosplay.
That's awesome.
Man, you are not alone. I was shopping for the costume for Ego, and I'm like thinking to myself, all right, he's the only guy that doesn't have makeup. He just has hair and a beard. Like, it's going to cost me like $5. And they got $250 Ego outfits.
But what would the costume be?
It's all about the robes and the leather jacket pieces.
Yeah.
All the cosplay people, they want the details.
Yeah, leather, baby, leather.
And they get these custom...
So wait, what's cosplay? Like that's a costume?
People do this all the time. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like just people into
Yeah.
costumes.
You've been
They're
to
professional cosplayers. I mean, they get paid. They have YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Instagram, same stuff you guys all do.
Yep.
Cosplay. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I looked up on sites and they custom make your costume. You like the measurements of your arm, your chest,
Yeah.
your waist, your hips, because they want to get it. They want to fit you just perfect. So
I
they
saw
custom build it.
that. I could have done that
Yeah.
for mine. Instead, I just got the jacket and the wig because I owned the rest
That's not
of
your
my,
real
my
hair?
leather, you know? So
That's not your real hair?
I grew it out and dyed it just
But
for
that's your
this.
real skin color, though.
Yep. Yeah. I just took my makeup off.
Nicely done.
The message board loves the costumes, by the way, and they said that Brian looks like a black and blue Senko. The Wawa Hoagie lady,
yes.
the Wawa Hoagie lady also said that Brian pretty much just hates everything.
Wawa Hoagie. Shout out to Wawa Hoagie lady.
Oh,
We
man.
love our Wawa Hoagie
Is
lady.
Pete taking Brian home tonight then?
Maybe.
Wait, so has Wawa Hoagie Lady also been a part of 100 shows?
May have been.
Close.
Gotta be close.
Right?
We got there's a few people on the message board that have been around for a long. I mean, way before I was on the show and just on the message board too. I've been seeing these people, so there's a lot of people that have been with you guys for a long time.
I wonder what
so.
everyone else's favorite shows are.
Well, I don't know, but I do want to ask Riz, what was your favorite show? I know you watched them before you got into the crew here. Do you have one that stands out that you look back on and say that was an awesome show?
Yeah, I would have to say the first time that Seth was in town, because that's like
Yeah.
one of the first times that me and Brian ever actually really hung out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that was cool. And then the episode before the first Ike Foundation tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, you signed Wayne's forehead that night. Yes. So those two episodes really stand out.
The 8-hour show. You enjoyed the 8-hour show?
Yeah.
That was a marathon
Actually,
show.
even the year after that, before the Ike Foundation tournament the next year when you were drinking Bud Light, that was a great one too.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was good. And let me mention real quick, Brian the Carpenter. We have a character standing behind you that's here tonight from a galaxy far, far away.
That's right.
Who is that?
Intern Scarecrow.
Intern Scarecrow.
AKA Groot.
I am Groot with us tonight. Maybe the best costume of all tonight. Look at that. Very in character, too, as well.
real
Probably
quick.
the most fitting. Him and Pete are naturally fit their costumes.
They
better.
do.
Like Pete's just wearing a gray T-shirt or
Yeah.
a sweatshirt and slicked his hair back. And he
It's
wears-
Carhartt.
Come on. I got a pirate belt.
And
Oh,
Pete
I
got
thought
that
that-
shirt
Pete the
free
pirate
at a bass
bitches.
tournament.
I thought it was like a European handbag. Male's purse.
Man bag. Mine is.
Mike has one of
I have
those.
one on.
Hey,
Yeah.
on the favorite show front, maybe not favorite show, but favorite part of the show was the after hours. My favorite part of the whole show. I want to bring back the after hours.
yeah.
All right, Miss Becky.
back.
Miss
We're
Beck.
not bringing back.
Tonight,
The damage control I would have to do the next day was horrific. We're not bringing that back. There was no self-control.
Yeah, but 90%.
So, I'm going to change the subject. You know who I'm really missing? Dave.
Where
Dave,
is Dave?
I love Dave in a costume. I
Yeah.
love Dave in his comments.
Yes.
I am missing Dave tonight.
missing Dave
He
tonight,
is
too.
the bomb at Halloween
He is the bomb.
episodes.
All right, there is a
brings it.
possibility that we might have a Dave
We'll call him.
call tonight.
Yeah.
We gotta call
Okay.
him. Yeah.
I hope we do. I really want to
However,
talk to Dave.
He's missed.
Let's get to our
Mike, the Wawa
juice.
hoagie lady was actually on the flats today.
Wow.
Well, he said he saw you pass him at about 200 miles per hour.
Oh, that may be true.
I like how the Wawa hoagie lady, he was on the flats today.
Oh,
I feel like this is one of these.
Yeah.
He?
The
Hey,
Wawa
it's
hoagie lady.
2009.
He
Black
his,
and red boat.
He his him.
He may be
Sparkleberry
him.
Bass Cat.
Maybe a him, maybe a her.
Sparkleberry Blue.
Yeah.
What kind of restroom does they
We
use?
don't know.
Whichever one they choose.
We don't know what
what
kind of
day of the
restroom
week.
they use.
No
You're allowed to do.
identification.
You can choose any bathroom
Yeah.
now.
That's right.
What was your favorite episode, Mike?
I don't know. I had a lot of them. I'd say
Post River win.
that was a good one.
That was a tough one.
That was a
We were
tough one.
wiped out.
I was wiped. I think my favorite show was the announcement to the announcement to the announcement to the announcement to the announcement show, where we kept people on the edge of their chair for well over 3 hours for the big announcement, and we had technical difficulties. I just don't know what happened that
No, it
night.
was like 5 hours.
It was
We
a
had
5-hour
MLF,
show.
It was a
MLF
long
and
show.
FLW on,
Yeah,
and then
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite.
and then
I
our
think.
feed got dropped.
And our feed got dropped somehow.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
how that happened, but man, there's been so many good ones. There's been some bad ones, and even those were memorable. You know, the Jim Miller show. We had the Miller brothers in. Great show.
That was awesome.
Our special ops
Yeah,
show.
Spec Ops guys.
Unbelievable
Swindle
show.
was amazing.
Swindle.
In a red jumpsuit.
Swindle in full jumpsuit.
Yeah, he was weighing in
Amazing.
his fish that night. If there was a weigh-in, he was bringing.
Oh,
his
he's
fish to the
bringing them
scales.
in. He's bringing them in.
One of my favorites was the Lee brothers
Lee brothers. Yeah,
when we had them busting each other's chops
that was a good
on,
one.
on the sofa, and
That was actually Dave as Matt Lee.
was that what that was?
Yeah, with
Oh, I thought it was Matt.
the
What's
helium
in that
balloon.
coffee
That
cup?
was Jordan on Skype and Dave with a helium balloon as Matt Lee.
He was so good that Pete actually thought it
thought
was
Remember, it
Matt.
was a funny thing.
We
isn't
had
it?
him in studio. We had Jordan in studio.
Yes.
Wasn't Matt there with him, or was he skyping?
No, it's,
No, we did.
No,
We
he
had them
was
both.
in-
We did have them both on via Skype
we
before.
did when
That
they were
is
still
true.
college anchors.
Yeah,
When
when
they
they
were
were.
still college.
They
From
were.
bunk beds. They
Yeah.
stopped us from bunk beds.
Yeah, yeah. Before Jordan started dominating the world.
Well, I just
winning
remember.
classics.
I just remember Jordan being there and interviewing him, and him just being so cool and relaxed.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, wait. When he was
There was-
physically there was the
Yeah.
pro-am, so that was
He was at the
before
Pro-Am.
he'd won.
Yeah.
That was before he'd had his wins.
Is it?
Yeah, our first pro-am when he was there, because he was at the first pro-am.
Wow.
So
So we had a young Jordan Lee.
we had a young Jordan Lee twice, because college and then pre-classic wins,
Wow.
and then Skype after, and that's when Dave did the Matt Lee.
Did you realize
Yeah.
your eye color matches your skin color?
It's creepy.
Wow, that's awesome. Green eyes and green skin.
Yep.
Pretty
yeah,
hot.
that last episode, I think Matt is still mad about.
I know. I
Most
know.
likely. There's a lot of people still mad at us.
Yeah.
We're assholes. I'm
well,
sorry.
there's been a ton of shows, and once again, everybody watching tonight, all the fans and viewers of Ike Live, thank you. Here at 100 in, we want to thank you for watching, for supporting the show. You make it possible, and we keep it simple. We talk fishing and drink beer, and thank you for supporting this show. We really appreciate it. All right, Brian and Carpenter, I think you want to keep going here, don't you? I saw a little hand signal. What do you got?
Do I have to sit on the
Cool.
pillow?
Okay. Yeah, you have to sit on the pillow. You have
Do
to
you
be
need
high.
me that high?
We need you high. We need you as tall as you can get, please.
It's not comfortable.
All right, so we're going to keep the show going, and I know a lot of you watching and listening. This is a big moment for you. You waited for this portion of the show, and I'm excited because just like you, if you're listening and watching, this is all new to you too. So this is going to be a great opportunity to learn a lot, Pete, about a really big announcement that we all saw via social media, via the press releases that came out on every fishing website about the National Professional Fishing League launching a new circuit. And it's, in today's age of fishing with everything else going on, this is a big deal. This is a big announcement. This isn't some little pickup league we're talking about with 20 boats in South Jersey. This is a full-scale national league, that's going to solicit professional anglers to fish in its store. So I'm super, super excited to hear about it. And I'm excited to say that we're probably one of the first bigger podcasts to have these guys on to talk about it. We've got Al and Paul joining us right now on Skype to talk about the National Professional Fishing League. How you doing, guys?
Awesome. It's an honor and privilege to be here.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. We saw the news the last few days, and we all were caught off guard, excited, all at the same time, I'd say. What? Right before we talk about anything, what has been the reception that you guys have received? Have you? I'm sure your phones and emails have been really just gone crazy in the last 48 hours. Has it been nuts? And what's the reception you're receiving to this release, this news?
Go ahead, Paulie.
On my home front, I have seen a very polarized reception. The text calls, everybody reaching out to me personally from my network, I want to thank, because it's all been good stuff. And I'm really appreciative of the support that we get from an industry that it's a competitive industry that we're in. So on the personal side, it's been very receptive. I got great partners and people that we've surrounded ourselves with, so that's a good thing. On the internet, like anything, I feel like I hate to give a percentage, but we have a percentage of folks that think it's diluting the market, think that we're not doing what's in the best interest of the industry. And our goal is to make the industry, help grow the industry, help make the industry better. We're not competing with anyone, in today's current state, nor do we want to.
Yeah. I'm all for anything that advances the sport of fishing or the sport of professional fishing. I'm for. I can tell you that, and anything that grows the sport. I want that, Pete. I want things that grow the sport. Let me shoot straight to my first big question. I know Pete, and I'm sure Becky and a lot of the guys in the room tonight have questions, but I want to stick to my first one, and it's real simple. It's a one-word question. Why? Why start the National Professional Fishing League? Why?
Basically, Mike, the reason that I got together with Brad and Michelle and with bringing this out, it's a $5,000 entry, et cetera, et cetera. Look, there's a lot of different avenues for anglers out there of all different skill levels to invest their money and go out and win, different prize money, whether they can make it to the elites, whether they can make it to Major League Fishing, FLW Pro Circuit, they want to fish the Costas. Here we're just giving them another platform. It's going to be real intimate at 125 invites, and we really think, based on the feedback we've gotten just in the last 2 days, that this thing is really going to be something to go in 2021.
If I can add to what Alan's saying, Mike, I'm gonna be a little bold here, and I'm gonna say that we're doing it because of you, because of guys like Gerald Swindle, because of guys like John Cruz, Chris Aldane, Brandon Palanak, all these people who preceded these tournament anglers, who at one point in time lit a fire in some kid that is undeniably strong and passionate, and he wants to reach the top level tier of bass fishing. That hopefully this is a trail that he can come fish for a couple years, make a pile of money, and then go chase his dream on the classic stage. If we can be a stepping stone to put people in your shoes eventually when the time is right, and help them to facilitate the cash flow to be able to do that, then our job's done.
Yeah, and again, I want to reiterate, I love it. If that's the reason, and this new league will help get more people involved in the sport on the professional level, I'm all for it. I think it's great. The timing of this is interesting. With the state of the sport right now, with sort of everything that's happened in the last 12 plus months, the timing is interesting. Was this created at all in response to MLF and in particular the recent purchase of FLW? Was this a response to that?
Well, the genesis of this thing started about 3 years ago. I put the business plan together, kind of shelved it, just got busy with a lot of things as far as my trucking career goes, working with the Big Bass Bash and Anglers in Action. And then when everything started brewing up about 4 or 5 weeks ago about Major League Fishing, the Bass Pro Tour, and FLW, then you kind of saw what the format was going to go to. This was perfect timing, in my opinion, and talking with Paul and Brad and Michelle, that, hey, let's put this out there. This is what I've got together already. Let's get everything together, put it out there. We did a lot of research leading up to the release of this on Monday. We just didn't throw our hats out there and basically say, look, we're just putting out this press release and all this stuff. We thought about this meticulously. We had a lot of conversations with a lot of pro anglers from different circuits. We got a lot of feedback. We want to put the best platform out there for those anglers that will get them to where they want as far as their professional bass fishing dreams go. So to answer your question, I would say it's 50-50. I've always had a passion. I wanted to do this. Optically and logistically, I know what I need to do there. But that purchase there kind of pushed us over the edge and said, let's do it.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, I can feel your enthusiasm. I think it's amazing, and Paul, I really like what you've done with your hair. It looks amazing.
Well, Pete, there's a little contest. Whoever can guess my costume, my Halloween costume, first gets a free Bass University hat.
Wow.
Which looked good on you, by the way. Like, what is his costume?
I would say, I don't know.
80s Pete?
I think it's Paulette. It's not Paul, it's Paulette.
80s Pete.
80s Pete. That's a good guess.
Pete. Sweet.
Is it true that each entry in the tournament trail will receive a full set of cast and fishing rods?
Easy.
We're working on the math on that one. But I think we're doing it the opposite way. If you buy somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 casting rods, you might get a free entry. So we're going to switch that around.
Well, I tell you, from the pro angler perspective, one of the big things is exposure, and fishing with the MLF and the Bass Pro Tour, the Bassmasters. The deal is exposure for your sponsors and their products. What are the plans for this trail? Are you going to be on a network? Are you going to be live on social? What are your plans in that area?
We have discussed the foundation for live streaming every tournament. Since the announcement, we've had numerous network outlets contact us. We're not going to be geared in the same methodology. We are not creating something for network television to make a TV show. If it pans out and the network TV works within the business plan, but the goal is truly to create an environment that is best for the angler and their families, and that's the first priority. Everything else will kind of not materialize, but everything else will holistically work together to come to fruition. I've had 2 calls for network affiliation, that will cover us, that will be more than suitable, good stand-up companies that we would be proud to be partnered with, but we're not in it to make a television show. We are gonna live stream. We are gonna put as much coverage as we can out there. Hopefully, technology continues to grow, and the cost of technology continues to evolve to where it's affordable to put it in 125 boats.
Well, that's I think that's the right direction. Certainly, exposure is going to be key. I'm going to ask a tough question. MLF has dropped entry fees. I heard Bassmaster talk of lowering entry fees. I read where your entry fees are $5,000 for this trail, I guess, in the first year. How did you establish that? And that's a pretty heavy entry fee for a lot of guys.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely an investment there as far as that entry fee goes for those 6 events. If you look at the numbers, we've got on that press release an 80-20 payback to those anglers. We're going to give away $500,000 at each event. That individual at that 1 and 3 pay on those anglers at 44th position is going to make $9,000. So if you take that entry fee for $5,000, just say at the high end, your expenses are $2,000 for that week. Because basically we're looking from Sunday to Saturday for practice, media day, meeting, and then 3 days of the tournament. That individual at the high end on the expenses is still going to make $2,000. Now, I went out and probably surveyed about close to 60 or 65 anglers currently on the different circuits, and I put a myriad of payouts as far as spreadsheets goes, and I've got a list of them. I'm tired of seeing the Excel spreadsheets on my computer, I'll tell you that right now. But believe it or not, when we put up there the $100,000, and then you got down to that 1 and 3 boat payout area, and it was about $7,000, or you went from 50,000 to 30, 20, 15, and then that 44th place was 9,000. I'm not going to shit you guys. 98% of the guys chose that 50 to 9,000. Not one guy chose that $100,000 payback, because simply it was all about trying to make money at these tournaments where it was so top heavy that a lot of guys, if you didn't shoot the moon and you still went out there and whatever it was 1 and 3 boats, you ended up losing money. By the time all expenses were paid, your entry fee and all that stuff, you were basically in the red by $1,000 or $2,000. So we went to the anglers, asked what they wanted, and yeah, the entry fee, to answer your question, is high, but there's $500,000 on the line right there, and you go from 50 to 30,000 to 20,000 to 15 to 14. That's a pretty good top 5 right there.
The other fact is the truncated schedule. You're looking at 30,000 on 6 tournaments. We have a lot of people questioning the number of tournaments, but the reason we're going with a minimum 6 tournaments in everybody's opinion compared to everybody else is to save time on the road. These anglers, the crowd that we're going for has they have 2 hurdles. Either they don't have enough money or they don't have enough time. Going with a truncated schedule kind of meets in the middle to cover both of those, to where the overall dollar number is a little bit less, annually, and then the amount of time off fishing is reduced as well.
Well, I appreciate that, and the next question I have for you guys is, where am I going fishing? Or is it we have the first 3 tournaments on the Delaware River and the Upper Chesapeake Bay.
Pete wants a discounted rate because you're wearing the Bass University hat.
We're taking sponsorships right now. All you got to do is call Paul Benson up. He'll work it out with you as a deal as far as hosting that event. Absolutely. As far as the schedule goes, look, this is going to be coast to coast. It's the National Professional Fishing League. The way that we set it up in the press release, and we talked about this, like I said, a lot of hours. We're going to do 2 spring events, we're going to do 2 summer events, and we're going to do 2 fall events. Number one, what that does, it helps it spread that time out for those anglers that if they do have a business or they do have a job, which 90%, 95% of these guys do, they also have families. This is going to give them enough time where it's not so spring heavy and they got to take all that time off from work or their business or away from their family. The other thing too is we really believe that the market out west is begging for us to come out there, whether it's Clear Lake, it's Meade, it's Havasu, whatever it might be. Now, the one thing that we're going to do, and we keep in mind as far as scheduling goes and where we go, look, all lakes are open. We're going to be putting that schedule out probably mid next year. And the reason that I say that is one of the things that we want to do for these anglers is we don't want to put one of our events on top of a Bass Open. And the reason that we don't want to do that is I don't believe that an angler should be taking away the opportunity to go to a classic, to cash a check, to put food on their table. So one of the prerequisites that we said to these anglers is if you come on board with us, that we're never going to schedule on top of a Bass Open. Now, we might be a week before, a week after. I don't know. We're going to have to look at the logistics of that. But that's an important opportunity for these anglers out there that have dreams of raising a classic trophy, and we don't want to take that away from them.
But you, so what I hear you saying, like that's your target audience. So you may have to conflict with a Bass Pro Tour or an elite tournament. And you're not so concerned about that as you are the coast is where the coast is and the opens.
Well, I wouldn't say that. The coasters, the BFLs, and all that stuff. Look, there's only so many dates. There's only so many lakes. You know, we're all going to be vying for this and everything like that. But look, we do want a commitment as far as our trail goes. But the biggest thing to me, looking at schedule-wise, you know, I want to look at the Bass Opens. I want to look at the coasters, the BFLs. You know, we'll be taking this all into consideration. But the key one for me, especially talking to anglers and kind of surveying them and getting their feelings, are those Bass Open days. Paul can also add to that.
Well, I think we don't want to prioritize and not to talk out of school much, but one of the first things that we did was Al reached out to Bass and explained to him what was going on, who we were, what was happening. Everything that we've heard in response to that has been positive. We want to do exactly what we said we're doing and give these guys another opportunity to make money. I have the utmost respect for the Opens. I feel like the Opens is the hardest trail to qualify for, and it's to qualify for the elites through the Opens is one of the toughest mountains in fishing, and it always has been. That being said, if we prioritize, okay, don't schedule around the Opens, don't schedule around the elites, don't schedule around the FLW Pro Circuit, don't schedule around the FLW Tour, right? Didn't Coasters become Tour, I believe? And then the BFLs. I think the BFLs, in all due respect, I have a lot of good friends that fish the BFLs and do wonderful. If they want to step up, from the BFLs to another circuit, then we come into play. So I don't see there being a huge conflict with scheduling, you know, on top of BFLs. What we probably will look out for more is that we're not scheduling on a 300 boat BFL at Hartwell the same week that they're fishing, that type of deal. We want to be the good guys. We want to work with everybody. We want to partner with other organizations. We want to make this truly a good environment for the anglers in the industry to be profitable and make money.
Beck, I know you had a question.
I do have a question. I like everything that you're saying. I like the national part. You're clearly going to try to put tournaments across the country. Clearly, it's fishing, and it's a league. The professional part in your title confuses me because I feel like what you're telling me that you're targeting are not the top-level pros of the sport. And I might personally be a little bit more sensitive to the term professional because I've lived for the last 13 years with people who have fought to get to that elite level in this sport. So I feel like this is my personal take. Don't be offended. I seem to like you. I'm just saying this. But
Hey,
professional
all
seems
questions
like
are good.
you're just throwing that around, which almost like detracts or takes something away from these guys that have been doing this for 15 years to get to this elite level. Like, I like what you're doing, but I don't see the part that it's a professional tour level because no one's ultimately qualified to get there. So I'm just like, how did you come up with the name and why use the word professional in there? Because I almost find it confusing.
Well, we did shop. We were shopping for URLs, and we looked for, as we've been referred to by other folks, we tried to buy the National Not So Professional Fishing League, and it was already taken. So
did Boyd buy that one?
Boyd definitely
got bamboozled.
we got pigeonholed into professional. That being said, the definition professional always gets debated. On the manufacturer side, I get hammered with that all the time. I think the consensus is that somebody can make a living full time from just fishing. That's like where nobody discounts that if you make your primary income from fishing, then you're a professional. But let me ask the folks sitting at the table, and Becky, you're included, Ike, how many jobs do you have between Ike Live, between what you do behind the scenes at some other organizations like Bass U? Y'all wear a lot of hats. I would consider those full-time jobs. I can go down the list and talk about guys like Kelly J, James Watson, people I know who are truly professionals, but they still have that 9-to-5 job day in and day out. And in the Elite Series, MLF, everywhere is littered with them. The jobs may not be traditional per se, but I would say what y'all do off the water is just as taxing and important as what Ike does. In no way do we want to lessen or disparage the sacrifice that the top 1% has made. All we're trying to do is give an opportunity to those folks. I've got Ike's book sitting on my shelf right here. I've read it cover to cover 12 times. Going from working at Dick's and fishing as hard as you can. John Cruz is a good friend of mine. Starting a company, going through college, doing everything he was doing while he was fishing to make his way. I fished an open with James Watson, the one he won at Table Rock, day 2. He was leading the event. I heard him taking phone calls, from the real estate office while he was leading the event on his home lake. I don't think that the general public understands the true sacrifice that folks have made to have their dream. All we're trying to do is give folks a little bit of help and a little bit of an easier path. Not in any way would we take away the fact that Gerald Swindle swung a hammer roofing and would go straight to the lake and be up sometimes 24, 48 hours at a time to live out his dream and do that. We love those stories. We want those folks, coming and helping us in showing, what they went through to get where they are, so that people understand the sacrifices that are truly made, not just by the anglers, but by their families.
Well, that was an extremely tough question you threw at Becky. And at this time, I would like to nominate Paul Benson for president. And the way he handled that.
2024.
I know. I totally agree with what you're saying and allowing, the working man. I just think that our ultimate goal, my goal. Okay, it's my goal. Sorry. I'm not who am I grouping in with me? Just me. But I feel like that we should get to a point that our professionals don't have to have another full-time job and kill themselves in 2 careers. And what you're creating is almost saying, yeah, you can have 2 careers and be a pro. Where what I'm over here doing with my marketing company is trying to find a way for guys to only be a professional angler. So I respect what you say. I just, my view is different, and I'm good with that.
In order to be free from the 9-to-5 job or the part-time job or the supplemental income, I know guys trying to make it on the Elite Series who work 3 jobs, and they kill themselves doing it. Our goal is to offer a platform for them to make enough capital to then go have the freedom to focus on fishing. I don't think there's a professional angler out there who would disagree with the fact that and I've heard Gerald talk about it, I've heard Mike talk about it, I've heard all these professional anglers talking about it at Bass University events, at seminars all over the place. you don't fish for a check. You fish for that next fish. When you focus on that next fish, the checks will come, and everybody puts it out backwards. We want to help. We're going to have an education branch of what we do, because education's a big deal. Pete knows that I'm very passionate about talking to high schoolers, college kids, and saying, hey, this isn't how you do it to make the industry better. This is what we would like to see. These are the best practices that we've seen be successful. Anything we can do to help make the industry better, is the finite goal of what we're doing. And not just better for us, but better for the anglers. We all have separate vested interest. Al's got multiple companies that he owns and runs. Brad Fuller has a very difficult personal job that he faces on top of owning Omega Custom Tackle. So we are all guys wearing 2 and 3 hats at the same time. Our goal is not to be professional fishermen. We've seen it. We understand the sacrifices made. We understand the difficult road. We just get a much better blessing from lifting other people up and trying to give them their chance that they may or may not see.
And I'm about as unprofessional as it gets in fishing. That's why I'm on this end and not that end.
Yeah. I would love a like semi-pro setup like the Will Ferrell basketball movie. I'd be all in, because that's kind of my style. But I don't know how many guys are gonna, and that's where the $5,000 comes in. Look, we understand the dedication and the skin in the game. There isn't a single Elite Series pro who has thrown all of his, pardon me, Becky, but manhood on the table, jeopardizing his family, his whatever career to get to the level that he is. These people have literally given blood, sweat, and tears to be where they're at. In no way do we want to lessen that. As far as the term professional goes, I'm of the belief that people who act accordingly and people who are good representatives of the industry, I see a lot of high school and college kids who I consider professionals in their actions versus some other professionals who are legitimate professionals. I mean, that door swings both ways.
Yeah. Real quick, let me remind everybody, if you're watching and listening right now, if you've got a question or a comment for Al or Paul, if you've got a comment about what's going on here and what we're talking about, please hit us up on the IM, and we're going to pass them through. Riz, what do we got coming through right now?
We had a good question from Eric J, and he just wants Paul and AI to go a little bit deeper on how you're going to guarantee the exposure.
I'm artificial intelligence, man.
AI, I like the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're from Philly, yeah. He wants you guys to go in a little bit deeper and kind of reiterate some of the ways you're going to guarantee exposure for your angler. So if somebody signs on and gets with you to do the $5,000 a tournament entry fees, how are you going to guarantee them exposure to maybe pick sponsors up, kind of grow their own brand inside of the fishing?
So that's the big key right there. A big question everybody's talking about: exposure, not only for the anglers and their career, their skills, but also for their sponsors. Most of those sponsors are basically filling that bill, if not all of it, 80% of it, whatever it might be. Our belief as far as an ownership group, everything's about live streaming. It's about the website. It's about social media. It's about that live streaming at launch, on the boat coverage, and at weigh-in. One of the big things and one big selling factor for us when it comes down to the events is not only is it important as far as that on-camera boat coverage of those anglers and seeing their different personalities, seeing those fish catches, but my big belief too is a trailer weigh-in to the stage, kind of like everybody's seen at the Classic. I mean, they're right there. You talk about fan involvement. You talk about exposure for those particular anglers and their sponsors. When they pull up to that stage and they're sitting in the back of that boat and either, their girlfriend, their wife, a friend, a dad, whoever pulls them up, we square them up, and from bumper to prop, their logo is out there from that 60 seconds to 120 seconds while they're weighing those fish up on stage there. And that's clear as a bell for everybody to see. So as far as that exposure goes there on that weigh-in part of it, I mean, that's going to be huge for these guys. We're also talking about different round tables. You know, certain guys are going to be running Mercury motors. Some guys will run some Yamahas. We'll have a Mercury motor round table. Maybe some guys are sponsored by, various other bait companies or cooler companies or apparel companies. We'll have round tables with these guys, and we'll get that media exposure for them. And this will all be documented on our website, on our social media platforms, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. So I think that combination there, a lot of people always talk about TV, and TV. Honestly, for me, when it comes to watching bass fishing, and I know that this is not the safest thing, so all you kiddies, close your ears. I'm watching this going down the road on my iPad, because I'm running and gunning all the time. Don't do that out there, kids. Get home, sit on your couch, get some popcorn. But I watch everything on my iPhone or my iPad or on my laptop. And that's really the key for us. We're not going to cut any corners when it comes to that live streaming exposure, simply because that's going to sell our product, to bring in those anglers, to get more sponsors for them, and also for our trail.
Al, I
Yes.
like what you're saying, but I think I passed you on the way to the studio tonight. You almost ran me off the road.
What was it? Was it my electric Prius?
I got another good one from
Wawa Hoagie Lady?
no, from Blake.
Waxahachie, Texas.
Bulake.
Blake wants to know, are the tournaments going to be a first come, first serve basis, or are some of the potential pros going to have to submit a resume of other trail experiences to maybe get into your league?
We have a huge, undaunting task ahead of us of placing 125 boat field. 3 days ago, you might have gotten a little more reservation about that task from us and whether it was possible or not. In the last 48 hours, I have no doubt that we can field 125 boat field. The issue is going to be we have lots of great qualified anglers who we're going to have to tell no to. We're not going to. The great part about it is Al, myself, and Brad all have pretty good personal networks within the fishing industry to where we can pre-qualify folks, based on resume, experience, things of that nature. That being said, there will be 100% transparency about the process, where a lot of other folks say, well, we're going to do this, or do team sponsorship dollars come in? If and I'm just grabbing a name, but if Evan Rude were to come in and say, hey, we're going to sponsor it for $250,000, but you have to put these 6 pros in, that's not on the table right now for what we're trying to do. There are other organizations that operate under methodologies as such, and historically that's been a hurdle for some guys trying to get into different organizations. I will say at this point that there's nothing off the table. We have had calls, texts, and messages from, $1 million plus anglers, and we've had calls, texts, and messages from high school kids, college kids. I got one this morning from 2 gentlemen that are in their silver years, over 60 years old. Great guys. We'd love to have them, but having to say I'm going to pick one person over another is the biggest problem, because that's kind of counterintuitive to what we're trying to do. We want to be all inclusive as possible. That being said, we're not going to shop from the current organizations as they exist. If people approach us, they approach us. That's one thing, but we are not going to go and try to dangle team or tour money in front of somebody to get them away from somebody else.
Right, gotcha. We did have one question earlier, guys. We had Mark Jeffries on in the segment right before you, and he would kill me if I didn't ask this for him. his question.
It
is Halloween.
Yeah,
Be
I know.
careful.
His question.
We're gonna go on BLT. I promise you.
Okay.
I know he keeps saying, "Will you be there? Will you be there?" Yes, we'll be there. It's just a matter of time frame. We love him. We love y'all. We love my good buddy Pat Renwick. Hint, hint. We want to be everywhere. But at the same time, y'all picked up the phone and called us first, and we're very, very thankful and honored that you did.
All right, so Mark's pass-on question tonight to you guys was, why sign a contract? He basically wanted to know why are you making these guys commit to sign a contract to fish this new league?
Let me start with this, and then Paul, you'll end it on that one. Okay, so here's the benefit for not only the organization, but also for the anglers. As everybody's read in the press release, we get these anglers on there. We're asking for a 2-year commitment. We're giving you a platform to fish for 3 years because we're asking for 2 years commitment and an option for a third. We want to be able to make sure that these anglers, look, they have an out just in case some type of family tragedy, God forbid, something financially, whatever it might be. But the biggest parties, whether it's the angler or the organization, number one, we want to market our anglers. We want to be able to show the personalities, build them up. It's like any other, baseball team or football team or something like that. I'm not comparing us to the NFL or Major League Baseball, but we want to have some time in order to promote these guys. The other factor for the anglers, at least in my opinion, and I could be wrong, I've been wrong many times before, I think if they go, when we give them that media package and they go to these sponsors and they say, look, there's a platform out there, $30,000 entry fee, $50,000 for first place, 1 in 3 anglers, an entry fee championship where the bottom angler of the top 25 that qualifies for $5,000 just for making it, $50,000 right now that we're putting in from those entry fees throughout the year. They go to their sponsors and say, look, I've got at least 2 years in an option for a third to fish this, and I'm going to give you 3 years of exposure for your brand, your product, or whatever it may be. So I think as far as what we're offering them, and we're going to have some clauses in there. We're working all the logistics as far as the language and the lawyers and all that stuff. But I really think it's important, not only for the organization, but most importantly for the anglers, to be able to go to a sponsor and say, look, I've got a platform for 2 years, possibly 3 if I want to take it. And they can sell them on giving them and basically investing in their talents to go out there and fish for big money. Paul, what do you want to add?
I think the contract will be a moot point once everybody reads it and sees it and sees that motivation behind it. I'll go back to transparency. Our goal is to be 100% transparent. We're not pulling any kind of, smoke and mirrors or tricks with these guys' lives. This is these guys' livelihoods. Somebody's going to hand us $30,000 annually to participate in our organization. I'm going to protect him tooth and nail to ensure that he gets his return on investment.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yep.
I get that.
And by the way, I want that Bass University hat, and you are Pat Renwick.
I got you. I'll send you a cashing hat. I'm probably overdue. You probably asked me for one like 6 months ago, and
I did too.
It hasn't materialized yet. But
that's 3 of them.
If I can talk a little bit about that coming up, I am so looking forward to spending some time with Pete at the home court. In the next few weeks, we're gonna practice what's. I know Christmas has Festivus. I don't know what the week before Thanksgiving's called, but
Pizza strength, baby. Pizza strength.
It'll be awesome.
Looking forward to it. I really am, Paul. Looking forward to spending some time with you.
So if anybody's watching, obviously the system's crashed here. Paul, you guys may not know this, but audio's still running, but our video died about 10 minutes ago.
Hey, I want to tell you something real quick. Pickleball, you need to get in. It's a sport made for you.
Pickleball!
Get into pickleball. I'm going to leave you guys a real short, quick story about pickleball. We started playing about 4 years ago. You look at it on TV or you look at it on YouTube and you see these old folks down in Florida, pitter patter, all that stuff. Us young guys out there, we go out and we just try to welt the hell out of one another. We don't care about the points. We want to just mark up the other opponent. Believe it or not, I started playing this with some buddies of mine. 2 months later, I had a meeting with a trucking company, sat down at dinner. This guy's from Seattle, Washington. You can look this story up. He knew the family that invented the game pickleball. I said, how did they come about the name? They took a badminton net, put it on the ground, used wiffle balls, and they kept hitting it far away. Their dog Pickle would run after it, grab it, and bring it back. Hence the name. There's some facts for you right there that are just out of the ordinary.
Can I give a different perspective on Tackle Warehouse since we're reminiscing here a little bit? Some folks may know I work on the manufacturing side of the fishing industry. We are a small 100% made in America rod manufacturer out of Sanford, North Carolina.
Great rods.
I encourage everybody. Well, we have a huge independent dealer network that we are very appreciative of. Tackle Warehouse as a vendor of Tackle Warehouse, they treat us phenomenally. They do not slate us by size. They help ensure that American made products stay in business. They take care of us. They're wonderful, wonderful people. I was glad to see Corey and Daniel on. I heard that they both might be on the lam from Nashville, some experiences in Nashville, but I'll let them fill y'all in on that after the show.
Yeah, we fished with your boy for a couple of days there.
Yeah.
Nashville.
Corey right now is thinking, how in the heck did we let Cash and Rod slip through the cracks?
Exactly.
Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on. This was very, very insightful for me, and I know for a lot of the listeners and viewers of Ike Live, we have a better understanding now of what this is all about.
We sure do.
And again, anything that grows the sport, that's going to get more people involved and make it more of a professional sport, I'm all for it. So, guys, Al, Paul, thank you. Al, AI, thank you.
AI, baby. AI. Hey, appreciate you guys. Happy 100th show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And of course,
It's an honor. Thank y'all.
You got it.
thanks, Paul.
All right, if you're still listening
Right now, hang in there with us. We're going to try to reboot. And if we don't, thank you for watching and listening. This was show 100. It might be the last show.
How fitting that it just
crash.
Same way we started.
Going out the way you came in.
We're going out the way we came in.
Guys,
That's right.
hang with us. We're going to reboot the computers here and see if we can get back up and running with you. We still got a ton of people on all the platforms, so stick with us. We're gonna bring it back.
Thank you, Rocket.
Lots of surprises and fun coming in the next segment. He cut me out. Lots of surprises and fun at the next segment. Okay, bye. Bye.
How many people do I need to take us out? Pete, do you want to take us out now?
Take us out, Pete. Daniel, take us out.
We'll be right back, bitches.